I had an older sister and a younger sister, and they were both very thin, but I was eating the same things as my sisters. Growing up was very challenging. I found myself comparing myself to them all the time and thinking that they were right and I was wrong. I started realizing all this processed food that I'm eating on these diets. I'm on a diet all the time, and they're telling me certain foods to eat, and I'm buying it. I'm looking at the package and I'm like, these are all chemicals. So I'm eating all these chemicals. Those are addictive and those mess with your body.
Hi everybody, Dr. Joan Ifland here. Thanks so much for joining me with these conversations about how to recover from processed foods. I have an amazing person with me today, Heather Pazenko. We're going to just start you right off with what was your childhood like? What happened in your childhood that made it difficult to maintain your weight as an adult?
Well, hello, Joan. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. Yes, when I was a child, I had two sisters. I had an older sister and a younger sister, and they were both very thin. They had, in my, I don't know, in my eyes, the perfect body. They had straight hair, and even though I love my curly hair now, back when I was a little girl and my mom didn't have curls and she didn't know how to do it, it was everything. It was, my hair was like, she would cut it really short. She didn't know how to style it. I was heavier than both of them. And I always thought there was just something wrong with me. Like I was just, something was wrong with me. My mom brought me to nutritionists. She brought me to the doctors. I remember her asking, can we check her blood? I'm wondering if she has a thyroid problem. Can we check her food? I don't know. I always just felt like there was something wrong with me, but I was eating the same things as my sisters. So yeah, growing up was very challenging. I found myself comparing myself to them all the time and thinking that they were right and I was wrong.
That's so distressing, and I'm so sorry that happened. But what a traumatizing experience. And then as you went into adulthood, how did this follow you? How did this affect you as an adult?
Well, I think I really did for a long time feel like there was something wrong with me. And so I was constantly dieting. I tried every single diet possible to change my body. And I didn't do it in a healthy way. I wasn't caring about health. I cared about the shape of my body.
Yeah.
And it caused depression. I
Mm-hmm.
was depressed. I was unhealthy and
Mm-hmm.
always struggling and always thinking that I just didn't have enough willpower, or I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
I can't get myself to look like the way my sisters look. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, it was years and years of different diets and failing at diets and trying again and still thinking like there's got to be something else. And I actually came across that, there's so many chemicals in all of our products.
Oh, you thought it was the chemicals.
Yes. So then I
Mm-hmm.
just had it in my head, like, oh my goodness, I've always loved makeup and all the things, right? Perfume and hair stuff. So I was like, that's what's making it harder to lose weight. It's making me
Ah,
depressed. Um, and I got rid of it all. I got rid of all the chemicals. Everything I use now is natural. I completely changed my life, and it helped a little, but no, it wasn't the answer. It really wasn't the answer. But on this discovery, it was like stepping stones to discover, right? Like what
okay.
I needed to do for my health. And I started realizing all this processed food that I'm eating on these diets.
Ah,
I'm on a diet all the time, and they're telling me certain foods to eat, and I'm buying it at the place. I'm looking at the package and I'm like, these are all chemicals. So I'm eating all these chemicals. And I will tell you a quick story, Joan. I was at a party and I brought something to this potluck, And it was basically, in my mind, healthy because it was this like low calorie
Da
thing,
da 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 da, whatever it
low
is.
fat, low calorie, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the hostess, I gave it to her, this thing that I thought was beautiful and healthy. And she said, "Oh, so basically we have to trade off health. We have to trade off like being thin to eat chemicals. Like we have to eat chemicals or we'll
Oh
be
my
overweight."
gosh.
It was, but I just was like thinking, oh my gosh, yes, this entire thing that I made was all fake chemicals that tasted sort
Okay.
of like real food. But I was eating
Okay.
it all the time, all the
What
time.
an amazing experience that a host would say that to you, but do you kind of feel like it was the universe like trying to reach you
Yes, it
to
it
take
was,
care of you?
yes. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, my journey just kept continuing, and that's when I discovered recovery. I discovered
Okay.
processed food addiction. And I
Okay.
was like,
Okay.
what? So even like
Mhm.
these fake sugars, the chemicals that I've been eating, those are addictive and those mess with your body. And I mean,
Brilliant.
it was like I love to research, I love to learn. So I just kept learning more and more. And I was like, okay, so I started recovery, but still treated it like a diet. I just followed
Okay.
the food plan. I was like, this is the food plan. So I started losing weight. I started feeling better. Um, but I still like felt like there was something missing. I was still struggling. I mean, I got
Yeah.
to the point where I signed up for school to become a nutritionist. I was like, I'm going to be a health
Yes.
coach.
So many people have done that, and they get, it's so confusing because these are drugs
Yes.
that are being presented to us as if they were food. Sugar is not a food, it's a drug. Flour, when it's ground into a very fine powder, no longer acts like a food. It acts like a drug, you get a sugar high. It and even gluten has morphine, and it's a gluteomorphine to make the food pleasant. But when we concentrate it, it makes us high. So you're learning about addiction, and this is a it's I'm not I mean I'd like to use the word trap. It's not a trap, but it's an idea. But it's a delusion. Okay, let's just get the right word. It's a mistake. It's a mistake to think that this is a problem with food
Mm,
or that it's a problem with eating. I mean, everybody thinks that because I'm eating food and it's making me sick and I'm losing control.
yes, yes.
But these are drugs. And once you get it, when the tobacco industry came in and bought processed foods, they turned our foods into craving drugs. Then you realize it's not a nutrition issue,
Mm,
it's an addiction recovery issue.
oh, yeah.
So, Heather, you and just thousands of other people went the nutrition route. And did it work?
So, unfortunately, no, I was still
Yeah.
struggling with my food.
Yeah.
But I will say this, in that school, they talked about a variety of ways to holistically help you become healthy. It's not
Okay.
just about food. They did discuss how important self care was, and meditation, and taking good care of your brain. And there was even a small little chapter in there about processed food addiction. There was.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, and so I feel like after that, I was like, okay, so it's not just following this food plan. It's about all the other things. It's about the self care. It's about the fact that I never even knew what the word setting, like, I didn't know how to set boundaries with people. So
Mhm.
people would take
Mhm.
advantage of me because I'm kind, and I would allow it because I didn't know how to do it. I had all these limiting beliefs and I believed
Mhm.
them. So
Mhm.
I didn't know how to have like communication with my brain, how to, take a step back and ask myself, is this even true? are these thoughts my thoughts, or is this something I learned when I was younger? I
Super.
mean, it's just detaching with love from other people's emotions. Like, I consider myself to be very sensitive, empathic. I take
Mm-hmm.
on other people's energies. I
Yep.
didn't even really know this about myself. It's like I was discovering myself with through recovery. It,
Yes.
but it was such a slow process because I still kept thinking I was that one person that could eat processed food and recover and be in the
Okay.
body I want. I
Okay. This is an important realization is
yes,
that when we're in a culture where everybody else is eating processed foods, the addiction, the cravings will kind of grab on to that and say, look, everybody else is eating it and they're doing fine. You could eat this. The cravings are always there.
yeah,
You could eat that. You could eat that. I mean, you could eat that. I mean, just this one. Da, 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 all
yep.
those rationalizations.
Oh yeah.
So you
My
experience that.
my brain can come up with a million. I call them permission giving thoughts. I can turn any situation into, well, in this particular situation, one bite of processed food could possibly work. But
Hmm.
so all I knew was that I felt like so much better when I was
Yeah.
healthy, real food. I
Yeah.
wasn't depressed. My skin was clearer. I was confident. I had ambition to do things. I wanted to connect with people. Um, Everything was wonderful. And then if I took a bite of processed food, I was depressed, felt terrible, had stomach pains,
It's
didn't want to
amazing.
connect. I wanted to cancel on all my plans. And yet, I was still trying every which way to be able to eat them. I
Oh my gosh. This is it. This is it. You know they hurt you and you
uh-huh.
still want to eat them.
Yes.
That is a cravings disorder. And
Yes.
Heather, I'm so sorry that you went through that, but I'm so glad that you started to see, okay, this isn't me.
Yes.
Maybe this is, as we learn in our communities, this is the tobacco industry all dressed up as processed foods, deliberately through neurology technology, brain imaging, deliberately creating that insanity in my brain. I have cravings, I want to eat it, but the thinking part of my brain is like, no, you don't. That makes you depressed. That's the cruelty of the tobacco food processed food industry. I'm so glad you caught that.
Oh my goodness. I am proud of myself for never giving up on myself. Um, and it was tricky because I was living with a lot of, I think, old beliefs from my childhood that
Yep.
always kept bringing me back down. Um,
Yep.
but when I discovered the arc, because I was already in recovery, that I thought I was in recovery, but it was never 100% right. Um,
Hmm.
and I always felt like if I didn't do it perfectly, I was wrong. So then it just created even more stress with that
Right.
whole like perfectionism.
Right.
It's there's so many different ways that people believe that this is right and that's right and you have to do it this way and you have to do it that way. And then I found the arc, and the arc is just this amazing community where I came in and I was like, these are my people. I am home. I
Uh,
mean, we are not there's no stress. There's no
right.
stress. There's lists of food like these are addictive foods. These foods may give you trouble. You know, we have all that, we have scientific documentation, we have all the proof. These foods are healthy and nutritious, and you can eat them and you probably won't have a problem. And within that, you also, like, Joan had created these videos to walk us through even figuring out maybe some of those items on the non-processed food list are giving us problems, right?
Yeah. How do
And
you
so
know? How do you know?
I loved that because it was a very gentle elimination plan. Where when I was in nutrition school, the elimination plan was like eliminate every single thing and then try to put it back in. And I tried to do that, but I started to binge because I have such oh, my brain is just so sensitive with this food. And I think the years and years of dieting and to totally take everything out, it was almost like too much for me. I need
Yeah.
gentle. I need it to be a gentle experience. And that's what I found in the arc. It was like loving. And through the years, because now I've been in the arc for years, a couple years now, I love myself. Like I can say that and it doesn't feel weird. Uh it's just the way we speak to ourselves, the way we hear everybody else talking to each other. It's like there's no shame. There's We're all working on our healthy journey and it all looks a little bit different, but
Yeah.
we're doing it together in this group. And I can't imagine doing it without these people. So I was able to like create these beautiful morning routines. And every time I started feeling a little off, there was always like a live chat to go to so I could
Yes.
regroup. Um, there's just so many videos to listen to because this is the other thing, Joan. When I first started the arc, I was like, we never talk about food. This is so weird. Like, we never discuss our food.
Yes. Yes, it is. We have places in the ARC system and all of our different programs where you can go and specifically work on food. I have a short course where you can
Mm-hmm.
develop a food plan. I have a short course to do safe weight management. But the thing about food in our culture, which the processed food industry has deliberately stirred up, they've deliberately provoked us. They want us to be thinking about food all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but never to think that food might be the problem. So there's what really just makes me so sad is people go to their grave. You know, they've had an entire life without enough space in their brain, in their hearts, in their daily activities to experience life
Yes.
because the advertisers, we live in unregulated capitalism, so the advertisers are able to reach us. And now that we all have our own personal screens with us all the time, it's really out of control. So there is a whole nother life there. And I know you just gave a great description of, food to me is like the tail end. When you have your foundation of sleep, positive thinking, managed relationships, good sense of boundaries, self esteem, when all of that, and it's not like you have to do all that and then your food's okay, but it's you do a little bit better with your self-esteem and then you do a little bit better with your food. You do
Yeah.
a little bit better managing relationships and setting boundaries and then you do better with your food. You do a little bit better with your sleep. You know, you stop the screens 5 minutes before you go to sleep and then 10 minutes and then you gradually do better with your sleep. Oh, and then you find that you did better with your food. But this is, the diet industry, the weight loss industry, which is another predatory, profit seeking industry out there, they want us to think, oh, you get a food plan, you follow the food plan, you take the weight off, everything's good. No, 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 no. The food is it's just part and parcel. It's tightly woven into all the other self care things that we do. So I'm really excited for you, Heather. You're
So,
in a community. It's now the other thing is it's got to feel normal.
yes.
When Americans are eating 73% of their food in processed foods, and you're not, your brain is going to start fighting you
Mm-hmm.
to feel normal. Oh, now your feel normal brain is joining in with the craving brain and say
Mm-hmm.
you should eat that because everybody else is eating that. And the addicted brain is like, yeah, see, yes, you should be eating this. So That's great. I mean, it
Oh,
is great to be with you in our community and to just to walk this together.
Oh, it's been life changing, Joan. And I think you just did a beautiful job explaining what recovery is about as well, with just these baby steps here, a baby step there, maybe a little setback, but then you learn from it and then you take another step. And exactly, it's not a linear path. And it is literally just building a beautiful life. That's what I feel like
Uh-huh.
recovery is. And you do it slow, because how can you do all of that, all those amazing things you just said? How can you can't do that in a day, you can't do that in a 30-day program. So
No.
yeah, the diet industry sells you this quick fix,
Oh my gosh.
and it's never going to last. This will last. This is like a community where forever you have your
It's designed
support.
to be a part of our lives. I am 72 years old. I got another 30 years to go. I can't imagine. I wouldn't want to live those next 30 years without being around people who are super, super interesting. They're having the most interesting experiences. Everybody comes in so easily. It's easy to use. You can jump in. It's 15 hours out of every 24. There's something live. There's a big library. It's like moving to a virtual village with
Yeah,
lots and lots of resources. But you're right. The overriding thing is compassion, and the cool thing is that when you think you're coming in to lose some weight or to get control of your food, stop the overeating, stop the stress eating, stop the binging, stop the emotional eating, stop being hungry all the time, stop eating when you're not hungry. You think you're coming in to do all those things and you get those things, but then you also get positive thinking and you stop thinking the negative thinking and you get so much more energy, and now you want to move. It's not I have to move, I want to move. And you get new ideas and fascinating topics, and it just you take this one step and it just blossoms. I'm leading a life I had no idea I could free live. So free from pain, free from depression, free from anxiety, and always getting better and always having something to look forward to. So, Heather, I have a question for you, and I know it's a bit off the top of your head, and that's okay. But if you were going to name your top five favorite things about your new life, what would they be? Three
uh,
or five or two or whatever comes to mind.
I could easily think of five. Let's see, what are the first five that come to my mind? The first, I mean, my brain health. So I did, like I said, I suffered with depression and I was diagnosed as being depressed.
Mm,
But it wasn't until I stopped eating processed food that I realized I'm not depressed. It's the food that's messing with my brain.
yeah,
So that is huge, to have a
huge.
happy brain. So that's number one. Number two, I am like a better version of myself. Like I feel more confident and energetic, and I want to do more things. So I don't even know what the word is there. It's just like an overall better feeling. so
Uh-huh.
um, so yeah, I have the energy. So maybe it's just like the energy. So my brain health, the energy that I have now, where I want to do more in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
Um, I do not want to suffer when I'm older with a food related disease. I find
right.
it so sad that most people now, even if they're living longer, they're not living quality lives. And
Yes,
I,
yes.
I've seen it with my own eyes, and I've helped my
Hmm.
grandmother when she was at the ends of her life with all of her medications. And it's just one medication after another, and then this medication to to help with the side effects of that medication. Oh, but if she just ate real healthy food all the time,
Yes,
in like
you know,
a whole
somebody
different life, she didn't want to
gave me
leave her house. It's just not a life. So,
Somebody gave me a great concept the other day. She said, I don't want a long lifespan. I want a long health span.
oh, beautiful. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love
All
that.
right, go on, go on. You're
I
on a
love that.
roll.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do not want that. And with that, I mean, with that also being said, like I have two young boys right now. I want to be a huge part of their life. So this gives me the energy to be able to go play pickleball and be, I want when they have, when they have kids and I'm a grandmother, I want to be there for my grandkids. I want to hold them. I
Uh-huh.
want to play with them.
Hmm.
Um, this so yes, I mean I want a big happy life. It is amazing that the industry sells us this lie that if you eat processed food it's going to make you happy. It's going to make you enjoy the party more. It's going to make you, I don't know, like have a better time on that
It's
vacation. It is the
180
opposite.
degrees off.
It's
It's
the
the exact
opposite.
opposite.
Yes.
Anything else? Anything else come to mind? Any other benefits you'd like to share?
Um And yeah, I mean, I do like being able to maintain a healthy weight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be in pain, and it's just it really affects everything. If I eat processed food, I'm in pain because I have
Yeah,
inflammation, and
yeah.
so it's just that's another big thing.
Did you notice this thing? People are talking about this more and more, that you're not hungry all the time.
Oh, yes, because I when you eat processed food, it's weird because it's like never really full, makes you feel full. So it's like you're eating these huge amount of calories and you're still feeling hungry. So then you
Yep,
want to eat more. But no,
yep.
I eat a beautiful lunch and I'm not hungry until dinner.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing not to be hungry. And the overeating has stopped, the emotional eating.
Yes. I mean, um, and I just want to say it was not, I want to say it again. It was not a linear path because, like I said earlier, I definitely was the person that kept trying to figure out how to keep on eating certain processed foods that I did not want to give up.
It's
Did
normal.
not want to give up. I knew that they were hurting me. I knew that it wasn't working, and I just kept trying. Um,
Well, these are deeply craving foods. We know that, one article after another is coming out now about how the food industry just really goes to all the lengths to make the foods create cravings
yeah,
and not be satisfying. So your experience is shared by millions. All
yeah.
right, any final words?
Well, I would like to bring up one more thing. So while I was in the Ark, one of the things that I loved about it was that there was this FARA program that was offered.
Mm,
And so I know for me, with my recovery, the more I'm in the Ark, the better I feel, the more I can help other people, the
yeah,
better my recovery is, and the happier I am. And the more I just, and I've had so many people throughout my recovery to help me, so many different mentors, so many things. And I would, so that's another big bonus. I got to sign up for the FARA program. And
I will say that as far as food addiction recovery advocate training, and I know for myself, being able to help myself has been thrilling. I have a life that I could not imagine, free of pain, free of limiting beliefs. I get to do all this great creative work, but there's nothing more satisfying than having the skills to help another person.
yes. And so that has been, again, a game changer in my life because not only am I learn did I learn more about this processed food addiction, it helped my own recovery.
Yep.
Then I learned exactly what you said, just to help other people in a kind, gentle way where I always was the person that, because I love to research, I have the answers. So I would try to help people all the time by giving them advice. That was
Yeah.
so me. And I always meant well,
Yep.
but I learned in the ARC and in the training motivational interviewing, which is basically
Uh-huh.
talking to people, really listening to what they have to say and helping them figure out what's best for them, because there's no way I could ever know exactly what's best for them since we're all so unique and individual.
Yeah.
And not only has that obviously like helped in the arc and I've been able to use my skills in the arc, but it's helped with my own family. I'm like a better wife and a better mother. And in my full-time job as a secretary, I talk to people on the phone all the time. I work at a school and I talk to parents that are concerned about different things. I
Mm-hmm.
use my motivational interviewing
Yes.
with the parents, and it's like, I mean, I just recently got a new job and I feel like I used that, all the skills that I learned in the FARA program, I used in my interview. And I'm like, it is because of the arc that I got that job. And now
Woo!
I'm like,
I
yeah,
know you take one step and you have a good heart and oh, it just blossoms and blossoms and it keeps
yeah,
giving and it keeps. It's so fun. Well, Heather, I can't tell you enough how grateful I am to have you in my life pathway. I get to walk with you. You and I have worked on projects together. We've teamed up to help another person. And I'm just so grateful that I have you in my life. And thanks so much for coming here today and visiting on Conversations with Dr. Joan Ifland. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate your interest. Tell the next person. You can walk the next person out of this processed food nightmare with what you learned today. See you next time.